There's one common covered call mistake that's quietly draining your profits right now. Now, I discovered this and then subsequently solved it through years of trial and error. And then I've helped thousands of other traders through my best-selling books avoid this same mistake. And so in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what this is, how to avoid the mistake and keep your trading profitable and stress-free. Now, you thought it was a safe bet. You've got a covered call, you picked a conservative strike price, feel good about locking in some easy income, and then suddenly, boom, the stock skyrockets, blowing past your strike price and racing higher and higher. Now you're stuck watching from the sidelines as these big profits slip through your fingers. So what do you do? Fortunately, there's a powerful tool to manage this exact scenario, and it's called rolling. Rolling is just buying back your original covered call option and immediately selling a new one on the same stock. Now, this adjustment does two crucial things. First, it buys you more time. You're extending your option's expiration date, which means more premium in your pocket, at least most of the time. It also lets you reset your strike price. So you can move your strike closer to the current stock price or move it higher to regain some more upside potential. But this often comes at a cost. The net result, whether you pay a debit or receive a credit for rolling, is determined by how you balance these two factors. But before we get into that, let's pause for a second and remember why you're selling covered calls in the first place. Now, covered calls are designed to generate steady, reliable income from your stock holdings, especially in markets that aren't making any big moves. So by definition, it means you're trading away some of your potential big wins in exchange for consistent, predictable cash flow. For example, let's look at one of my own holdings, CrowdStrike, which is the largest stock in my long-term portfolio. Now, my cost basis on that is $143 per share. Today, the stock's trading at nearly $455 a share. But because I'm holding CrowdStrike for long-term growth, I don't sell covered calls on this stock. If I had, the stock would have been called away a long time ago and caused me to miss out on massive growth. And the same principle applies to my other long-term growth positions as well. Stocks like Meta, Tesla, Nubank, and Mercado Libre. I want maximum upside from these stocks, so I avoid selling covered calls on them altogether. So the bottom line is this: covered calls are great for steady income and moderate growth, but they're not your ticket to capturing maximum upside on a stock. And so first, understanding this fundamental trade-off will help you confidently handle situations whenever your covered call does go in the money. So now we've clarified why we don't sell covered calls on stocks that we think have large long-term upside. What about the stocks you are selling covered calls on? How do you handle those trades? Well, the key mindset here is simple, but it's critical. Never let a winning trade turn into a losing one. Because the reality is this: not every trade can be a winner, and that's okay. What isn't okay, though, is something I see happen far too often, which is where traders hand back their hard-earned profits due to greed. They try to squeeze every last penny out of a position, and in doing so, they risk losing everything they've gained up until that point. You got to think of it like a chef who's trying to make a soup, and it tastes amazing, but they keep trying to improve it by adding just a little bit more salt, then a bit more seasoning, then some extra herbs, then more ingredients. While each addition seems small, they keep tweaking it, convinced they can make it even better every time, but by the time they'd added all these things, they'd completely ruined the soup. It's oversalted, overseasoned, and it's inedible. The same thing happens when you try and push a profitable trade too far. Your attempts to squeeze out extra profit end up destroying the gains you already had, leaving you worse off than when you started. Now, to avoid this trap, it's crucial to understand the difference between realized and unrealized gains. Your realized gains are concrete because they're based on your actual cost basis or the average price you've paid for the shares. These gains are locked in once you close or adjust your trade. Unrealized gains, on the other hand, are just potential profits, like the difference between your strike price and the current stock price. These paper profits fluctuate all the time, and until you lock them in, they aren't real. And that's the attitude shift that helped me and many others consistently succeed with options. You always focus on lowering your cost basis because your cost basis is something within your control, unlike any unrealized profits, which are going to fluctuate constantly. Your cost basis is fixed unless you actively adjust your trade. And this is why you should avoid paying a large premium to roll any covered calls to a much higher out-of-the-money strike, because that's going to increase your cost basis, weaken your position, and put your potential gains at risk. Let me show you exactly what I mean with a couple of examples. Right now, WBD is currently trading around the $9 level, and I have a covered call at the $9.50 strike price, and that's got 18 days left until expiration. My cost basis on this is $9.45 per share. So if WBD does finish in the money at my $9.50 strike, then I will exit this trade for a small profit because my sale price is just above my cost basis. But there's no point in me trying to chase the maximum possible gain and paying any money to roll up my strike price, because that's going to increase my cost basis in the process and then puts me potentially on the wrong side of a price reversal in the stock. Because rolling options always involves balancing two factors. So you're adding time value by extending your expiration date, and that's going to earn you additional premium. But often you're subtracting intrinsic value if you roll your strike price higher on a covered call. So you're reducing the intrinsic value of the call, and that's going to cost you money. So the combination of these two factors determines whether you pay a debit or receive a credit when rolling. Now let's get specific on this. I had another trade on SoFi recently. My cost basis was $11.62, and I had a covered call at the $13.50 strike, which was expiring in 15 days. Now the stock at the time was trading just above $16, so the call was deep in the money. But my goal here was simple. I just wanted to maximize my profit without increasing my cost basis or taking unnecessary risks. And there were 4 possible ways I could have adjusted this trade. And so I'm going to walk through them one by one so you can see clearly which one is best. Now, choice number 1, I could roll up from the $13.50 strike to the $14 strike. Same expiration date, but this is a terrible move because there's almost no time value gain here. So I just pay 48 cents to move up 50 cents in strike price, which means after commissions, I gain basically nothing, maybe a penny per share, and increase the risk of the trade going against me. So that's clearly not worth it. Choice number 2, I could roll up from $13.50 all the way up to $16. Again, same expiration date. On paper, this looks better. I would pay $2.05 to potentially increase my sale price by $2.50 per share. But this dramatically lowers my probability of finishing in the money and increases the risk of the stock reversing. So again, this choice isn't worth the risk. Well, what I could do, choice number 3, I could roll from $13.50 to $16, but then extend the expiration date further out. I can add 28 more days. In this scenario, I'd only pay $146 to gain $250 in potential sale price. Now, this is appealing at first glance. I'm still paying a debit though, and I'm adding a full month of uncertainty. And that month increases the chance of the stock price reversing, leaving me in a weaker position, which is not ideal either. But that leads me on to the 4th and best choice. I keep my strike price exactly the same at $13.50, simply roll the expiration out by 28 days. Now, why is this optimal? Because by doing this, I receive a credit of 40 cents per share, meaning my cost basis immediately drops by 40 cents. My eventual sale price stays the same, but now I've locked in extra profit and lowered my risk at the same time. And this move accomplishes exactly what I talked about earlier, lowering my cost basis, which protects my downside and increases my overall profit compared to just letting the original trade expire, and then avoids the higher risk scenarios from the other choices. Yes, I am sacrificing a bit of time value by extending the trade, but that's the trade-off that I'm comfortable with because I'm already in a winning position. So my priority is securing and then slightly enhancing those profits, not putting them at risk. And here's another key benefit. By extending just a little bit, if the stock does dip a bit close to expiration, then I'll have another chance to roll again, pick up a bit of credit, and potentially allow me to secure an even better exit price. Now, from an even lower cost basis, thanks to the credit I received initially. This flexibility is why knowing how to roll your trades can be so powerful. And this systematic, disciplined approach to rolling is exactly how I've achieved consistent results and how so many of our students have done the same thing. For example, Anthony from our community recently funded his trip to Japan thanks to a 56.3% ROI over the past year. Janice, another student, took her whole family to Europe using her options income. Just comparing these results to some of the major benchmarks like the S&P 500 or a dividend ETF, we're consistently outperforming them. And it's not luck or guesswork. It's just having a clear, repeatable process that removes emotion and uncertainty. So if you're interested in getting personalized feedbacks on your trade, building a systematic approach to options and achieving consistent results, we do offer a coaching program. If you'd like to learn more, just simply click the link in the description. And if coaching isn't right for you right now, no worries. I genuinely hope you found this video valuable, and I'll see you in the next one.